If you have been on the internet for some time, you probably know what a CAPTCHA is, and you've probably solved one, and with any luck, you actually did not struggle on it for about 2 bloody hours. CAPTCHA first came out in the 1990s. However, CAPTCHA systems today work a lot differently than the CAPTCHA systems back in the day. To understand why, let's take a dive into the reason CAPTCHA was created in the first place. At the time of its invention in late 1990s and early 2000s, there was a need for developers to find a way to distinguish between bots and actual humans. Bots are frowned upon for a variety of reasons. This paper, which is on your screen right now, was published in 2003. It was written by Louis von Ahn, Manuel Blum, Nicholas J. Hopper, and John Langford, who, by the way, are also the creators of CAPTCHA. And in this paper, they highlighted where bots were harmful. The paper's introduction was an amusing read as it talks about the reliability of online polls at the time. In 1999, the website Slashdot.com announced an online poll asking people of their opinion on the best graduate school out there specializing in computer science. The students at Carnegie Mellon University figured out a way to make bots which repeatedly voted for their university, and a while later MIT students figured it out as well. They started spamming the poll with votes for their own grad school. This clearly shows why we need to put a way to authorize users and not allow spam bots from interacting with sites. Another problem at the time was free email services like Yahoo and Microsoft getting spammed by bots creating thousands of new accounts every minute. That is not an exaggeration, that is a real figure. Like before, there is again a need for a system to counter bots. There are many more good reasons for having capture systems other than these two I mentioned, and if you are interested, I recommend you go through the paper by the team behind Captcha, linked in the description below. To solve these problems, they introduced Captcha, short for Completely Automated Public Turing Test, to tell computers and humans apart. It's an interesting name, appropriately named as well, but there's a bit of cheating going on with their acronym there, but at least it's got the word Turing in it, so fair play. If you don't know what a Turing test is, it's a test designed by Alan Turing. So imagine two entities, a human and a machine, and a third entity. It's a neutral human observer who knows that there is one human and one machine, but does not know which one is which to start with. The challenge is for the machine to speak and talk like a human, so the human observer evaluator thinks that the machine is also a human, when it is in fact not. CAPTCHA is also often called a reverse Turing test because the test is evaluated by a computer rather than a human. The paper which I was talking about earlier has a paragraph describing the paper in abstract, and the very first line of it is, and I quote, "We introduce CAPTCHA, an automated test that humans can pass but current computer programs can't pass. Any program that has high success over a CAPTCHA can be used to solve an unsolved artificial intelligence problem." Let's ignore the second part of the sentence for now because it's beyond my intelligence at the moment. But I do want to draw your attention to the words current computer programs. You see, computers back then were terrible at reading normal text, let alone warped ones like in the capture text, so at the time it was perfect for humans to solve. However, computers soon became better at reading text at optical character recognition, or OCR. So Louis von Ahn, the creator of CAPTCHA, came up with the next evolution of CAPTCHA called the reCAPTCHA, now owned by Google because they own everything, including you and me. ReCAPTCHA uses two words instead of a single word. This is revolutionary because of multiple reasons. The first word's answer is known by the evaluating machine. So, how is this different from the good old CAPTCHA? Well, here comes the second word. The second word is also a warped image of a text, but this time the evaluating computer does not have any idea what the word is. The word is taken from a list of words which an OCR could not solve. ReCAPTCHA sent this word to hundreds of people, and if a bunch of people got the same answer, the machine could tell with absolute certainty what the word was. Google acquired this technology in 2009 and put it to great use. They used this method to digitize their scanned books and news archives. After this process repeated enough times, the computers had enough data to properly understand what a warp text really meant. And that's where our new problem comes in. In 2014, Google released a research report which showed that AI at the time could solve raw text-based captchas with a whopping 99.8% accuracy. This was concerning to say the very least. Seeing this, Google started working on a new backend for Captcha which tracked user activity to determine whether or not a user was a human or a bot. They call this the Advanced Risk Analysis backend. And with this new technology, all the humans had to do was click on a checkbox and they would be authorized. I'm sure you've come across this multiple times. Text-based captcha still existed on top of the no captcha reCAPTCHA. This was employed whenever the backend could not make out if it was a human user or a bot who was doing it. In cases of mobile devices, for ease of use, they switched to an image-based captcha system, which is very common today, even if you're not on mobile devices. And the reason for that was because later on Google completely removed the WAF text and relied 100% on images. These images were used to teach Google's driving AI to notice, for example, fire hydrants on the road or even traffic lights or maybe other cars because, they don't want to crash. So there was the history of captcha systems. It's pretty cool, but what about its future? In the past, computers learned how to read the warp text because of captcha, and now they're learning to figure out what images are. So maybe the image recapture tests are also going to be ruled out in a few years. What would happen then? No captcha already exists, but maybe one day some destructively smart programmer out there might figure out how to bypass it. So in short, I don't know the future of captcha systems, but I do know that humans are also very smart, and I hope we'll figure it out when the time comes. Thank you for watching.